Hello. Hello. Trading has closed on the 18th of December 2024. We'll start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, make our predictions. This is my trading plan for Thursday, which is the 19th of December 2024. Remember, my plans can change, my plans can be wrong. Trade at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early low, that's this. Tomorrow has the early low. We said unless we get done smartly, we should trade higher, which we did, but I said a big drop shouldn't be long in coming, and it wasn't. We got the pattern with the early low. We said bullish pattern, higher prices, doesn't tell us where we close, and decline shouldn't be long in coming. Tomorrow has the early low. We cross a target off the list, 5904.73. Support, resistance over the number. We have a new target, 60.59.18. I don't think there's any chance of it printing tomorrow, but should print at some time. The market likes to leave a failed target near significant highs and lows, and if that's what this is and it's acting like one, that fulfills the pattern. There is a volume spike. Volume spikes occur near lows, so in terms of time, we're probably pretty close. Doesn't mean the whole decline's over, but it opens the door to some kind of recovery. During the day, MEJT said this drop was false, said the rally was false, said this drop is false, gives us the higher target. I don't think it's going to print tomorrow by a long shot. Well, early on we had this 9-13-9 to mark sell signal. When it's going to lead to a disaster, it should drop quicker than this, but it did work, it did drop. Here's the first TDST line, 58.8726. That line is support and trading under the lower Bollinger Band is support, and we just broke through the 50-period moving average. That's quite a lot to swallow in one move. Doesn't mean you have to bounce tomorrow, but it's a straight line drop to support, and usually if you're going to continue down unabated, you're going to have to gap under this low. DeMarc's rules say you get this is support here, you get one full day's bar under this low, and that's usually it. And if you trade another full bar under such a bar, under this low, the next lower target's the TDST line of 5406.96. So hopefully we're not going to trade one full bar. We're not going to trade more than one full bar under this line. Can still drop a couple of hundred handles, but hopefully it won't collapse. Well, there isn't just one valid count, but there is a trend line here, and usually when you drop to a trend line in a straight line, you either gap under it or the drop won't stick. So once again, bears need to gap under today's low if they're going to continue lower and stick to it. Well, by this count, we're in the fourth wave of lesser degree. It's another support area. This is not the only right count, but if it is the right count, we're in wave 1 of Magenta 3 by this count. A lot of times wave 2, if that's what this is, can correct almost all of wave 1. That takes us down near 5,000. I think that's quite a bit much. I'd be happier if we stayed over this, which is around 56.60. But that sure isn't a lock, just a guess. Now, DeMarc has a rule for saying when a bounce is due for a crash. I don't know if this meets his criteria for a crash, to be honest. It's only 3%. So what I'm saying might be a misstatement of his rules. But what he does is he takes the last rally, and this might not be big enough, but he takes the last rally, and if you go under the 38.2 and 61.8% retracement for the first time all in a day, he says the next day you climb back up to the 61.8 retracement, which is 59.47.35. Now again, I might not be reading it right. I used to have his books and I gave them to my son, so I don't have them anymore. But if this applies, and I'm not saying it does, but if it applies, I'm looking for 59.47.35. If we don't see it, I'm not going to be too unhappy, but if we start going up, it's what target I'm going to look for. Well, by this count, we're still in wave magenta 3. You've completed 3 waves up by this count. And if it's the right count, and we're in black 4 of magenta 3 with wave 5 truncating, we shouldn't trade under this high of number 1 of 3, black 1 of magenta 3, which is around 56.60. Now I don't know if that's the right count, but I think it's a pretty good count, and if it is the right count, that's about as low as we'll go. As far as this leg is concerned, we call the top to the day with this ending diagonal triangle. We have an ABC for red A. If you set that at 23.6, we have an ABC for B, red B. And if there's a fib relationship, you usually don't go further than 23.6 to 100. Gives us around 58.48. So hopefully, if I'm right about this count, which we don't know yet, this leg won't go lower than 58.48 or so, which doesn't mean it happens tomorrow. And if we're right about the count in a larger degree, you won't go much under 56.60, but that's just a guess. When these things start, you can't be positive about these things, can't be dogmatic, and you have to keep your erasers handy. All I'm saying is we drop the support in a straight line. We either gap under this or a good chance for a bounce, and possibly quite a big bounce. So tomorrow's pattern has a really low regardless of where we open. There's a higher MEJT target. System nearly always leaves a fatal target or major changes in trend. I'm assuming today's target fulfills the pattern. Should print at some time, just doesn't have to be anytime soon. The failure of today's pattern to close near the high calls for lower prices to print at some time, even if they don't do it tomorrow. There's some support here from the TDST line, the print under the lower Bollinger Band, and the volume spike. It's possible we bounce. I'm not claiming it's guaranteed, but if we don't gap down, I think it's likely. It may be even as high as 59.47. I can't calculate the end of this drop with any degree of precision. Ideally, I like this leg to end no lower than about 58.48 cash, and for the decline to end over 56.60 cash, give or take a little. It's a guess. Guesses can be wrong. Guesses can be completely wrong. I'm taking it a day at a time. If we don't gap under this, a chance for a bounce, but certainly not a guarantee. We've been saying that the breadth was just collapsing, and at some point we had a drop. We now have 11 days down in a row on the Dow, and in all of history we've never had 12 down in a row. There's always a first time, but there's only been one other time we had 11, so it wouldn't surprise me if we got a bounce. I just can't say it's guaranteed, and I'm not risking money on it at this time. It is the pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.